All right, guys, welcome to the optimistic podcast with some mixed people. All right, we've got some new people to introduce.
I don't think that's the phrase. I don't think that's the phrase.
Okay, if you didn't say anything, we could have just kept rolling with it.
Mixed podcast.
Please,
It's four white guys.
I'm liking where this is going
Probably
so far.
is literally.
Well, I was going to say, compared to the last 6 months when we did this, we've got a brand new person over here to my left. We've got Tren Nabi. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Ken.
I'm Trent Kenobi. I play Wizard sometimes. I'm pretty new to Dark and Darker. Stack strength in and out of game. And yeah, good to be back.
That's true.
Ken Boss.
In and out of game. I'm in danger.
Arcade.
Yeah, I'm a guy that just dropped in after 11 or 12 weeks of not playing this game. So it's great to be here. I feel like
The new player perspective. Wait a minute.
a guy named Donnie from another podcast that I heard of once. Yeah.
Ooh, my man.
Good to be here.
All right, well, we're going to kick this off because we are 1 week away from the quote-unquote make or break Season 7 wipe for Dark and Darker.
We also have 1 week?
That's a week away. It's like the 23rd.
No, it's not. There's no way. There's no way.
Isn't it the 23rd?
9 days.
Isn't it like Tuesday? Monday or Tuesday?
Okay, so it says 9 days on the client, so it's like 14 probably.
All right, we're 2 weeks away from Season 7, the make or break wipe. I'm here with the boys, and hopefully we're feeling a little bit better. We had to take a break from the podcast because Season 6 and 6.5 and 6.9 sort of extended and got dragged on, and SDF became CEO, took charge, and
self-appointed CEO, which is crazy.
Sort of back where we were before all the finagling happened. So how is everyone's general feelings about Dark and Darker in the future?
I should go last.
So, like you said about Season 6, 6.5, it was pretty rough. The season drug on for 4, 10, 12 months. Who knows? It was so long. And it just wasn't very good. Then they hit us with the semi-wipe. And then they hit us with a semi-wipe, which I can't even believe those words came out of a CEO's mouth who gets paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. I can't even believe that. But all jokes aside, this season has actually been a lot of fun. It's a month-long season, maybe a little bit longer. They had 2 weeks of SSF to begin with, which I always love SSF. SSF's been great. They changed gear around. I think gear's kind of in a decent spot. Not the best spot it's ever been in, but it's playable. And I think class balance is generally close to good. So I've been having a lot of fun in Dark and Darker, surprisingly. I'd be the person to talk shit, and I will be talking shit later. There's some problems, don't get me wrong. But I found ways to have fun again, which is nice. What do you, Sobi?
I agree. I think that this wipe has been one of the better wipes. We started off with the much anticipated and hopefully expected for the future sort of normal aspect of the game is self-found. We talked about self-found a lot on this podcast in the past, and now it feels like we should be getting that every 2 weeks. And I think that's a really good way to start the wipe. It sort of pleases both camps as well. And then the day market opened, it was one of my favorite days. I went from having 200 gold and being sucky to having like 150,000 gold. Artifact quests, massive win. I really hope that stays, and if it does stay, I would like to see one per month. Maybe gate the artifact quest to slowly release them. I think Arena as rare only is a really, really good thing for SSF. We can talk about that more later as well, and the evolution of the Arena over like a 3 or 4 month wipe. But overall, I'm feeling really good about it. There's also some things I can complain about, but I have a lot more to be proud of and optimistic for going forward. Arcane?
So yeah, I know we kick things off with the new twist here today, but I think it's worth talking about the gap between the May 23rd podcast, which I believe was our last one, and now the great decline and what appears to be somewhat of a resurrection. So there was a lot of disenfranchisement, I think, and that really wasn't the reason it wasn't the sole reason that I took some time away from the game. And I know that's been a common theme for a lot of people, but for me, there was a confluence of factors where the game seemed to be in a bad spot. And then I had other personal stuff going on. And then also an accelerated interest in building my own home AI lab. So all those three things kind
Oh.
of came together.
Pick
So
your brain after stream.
yeah, I've got like 300 hours of coding and vibe coding, and then context engineering now into like full scale AI engineering, which has accidentally been really good for my career, it turns out. So
We get it. You're smart.
that's-
You're successful.
No,
you're not
Using a
busy.
lot of big
no.
words. I'm pretty sure he
Far
got replaced by
from it.
AI.
You get it.
No.
You and Elon are tight. We get it, dude. all
I
right?
am masquerading as someone that knows what the hell they talk about when it comes to that.
That's
thing.
everything AI. You're right in the center of it.
Yeah, but it is
That's
fun.
awesome. That's really cool.
The home lab is a lot of fun. So that's kind of where my head has been at. But occasionally I have been dropping in to check out streams. I was watching Josh earlier, Boss not too long ago, and I saw that Soapy rejoined the community not too far back. It was probably around the start of this one.
He's been playing a lot of autofill randoms trios, and it's been fun.
It's a
One of
good
the best
time.
game modes.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Wow.
Yeah.
The world
So
of-
when did you take your break? Like what like patch? Just so I have a
June,
timeline.
my last raid prior to today was June 29th.
So was that like right when they got rid of the gear, the rolls?
I think
like-
that was a couple days after the semi-wipe, because semi-wipe was 26th, if I'm not mistaken, June
Okay.
26th.
That makes sense.
So they removed all the rules, aka all of the fun of the game and any of the loot distribution
Yeah.
and all of the mattering stats and anything that you played for, and then expected people to play it. Which,
Yeah,
by the
yeah,
way,
yeah.
it's my turn, right? Can I go
Yes.
now?
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
that's when you're supposed to take a break. So you honestly,
Yeah, that was a good break.
all right,
Yeah.
then, boss. I guess fine, whatever.
Yeah, that was just atrociously embarrassing and absolutely disheartening for them to shovel out that nonsense to us. That was like, for me, that was like the absolute biggest hole in the Iron Mace armor they could have produced. Not only to recycle the same patch with no changes, but to shovel it on us as something new was really embarrassing. And they got a lot of flack for it, but to me, it just was. It was like changing out football for like steak ball. They completely reversed the decision they've been
And
developing
we're referring
everything.
to the removing
Summoner
so-
69, the removing
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
stats. Yes,
Those
the
are
item
really nice.
stats. Yeah, so that was like a complete rug pull in my mind. Like, yeah, you guys want to make this game? That's great. I don't want to play it. You know, like I don't want to play that version of the game. That's not the version that you've been making. You're making something completely different. Like, respect to you for following whatever decision that you wanted to make that into, but that's not the one that everybody supported you for. And so, yeah, people started just dropping off. I get that. Completely understandable. And it was just such like a smack in the face, it felt like, because it wasn't something new. It was 9 months old failure regurgitated back to us. So I was really just beyond tilted. As you can tell, I'm still pretty tilted by the idea that
You sound
they thought
happy
it
as
was
hell.
okay to
What
do
the-
it. Yeah. Yeah. They brought back stats, of course. They brought back solos. They brought back a good series of queues. I think we're in a nice place. I still don't know why we don't have Squire lobbies. Like, that was always the best version of the game without question. And what I think they should do now is just re-add the Squire lobbies as solo duos, trios, just one tap the button. If you want to go around handshaking, go for it. It just makes the game a lot more fun. You know, everyone plays it more of an expected dynamic of the interactions in the dungeon. Similar to how Solo Self-Found changed the interactions in the dungeon for a major positive. You don't have people just PvP sweating all over. Even the biggest PvP sweat lords, they are hesitant to lose their Solo Self-Found kits. They go in the dungeon, they're like, all right, that class is my counter. I'm not just going to ape at it because I know I can go buy another kit off of the market. This kit has a story. It took me at least like 6 days to build this all together to get where I want. Maybe I don't go in there because I saw a rogue in the corner and I don't want to get third party. You know, like there's an actual hesitation to the dungeon and an improvement of the overall experience with the Solo Self-Found gameplay loop.
So
And now-
so satisfying. Like I'd be playing 5-spell instant cast, like the standard wizard build, which is kind of cheap to play. And you play that for raids, and you slowly pick up pieces, and I'm like slowly piecing together this spellblade kit. And like 3 or 4 days go by, and I have this spellblade. I'm like, yes, I assembled Exodia. I get to play spellblade for a few raids, and then you have fun playing it. And then when you lose it, it hurts, but like it's a good hurt. Like
And you learned
Give it
from
a
that.
shot, yeah.
You most likely were like, oh, okay, I needed to play better on this angle. I shouldn't have pushed this guy, maybe not been so aggressive. But there's a whole dynamic there that improves the overall feel of the dungeon. Every kit has a story. Everything puts you back in the dungeon to actually experience the game. And then the market came out, and I've been fighting 200 HP, 330 move speed barbarians ever since. Like, everything just immediately goes to full bis. And that's because of course, you have 2 weeks of solo self-found. But the point being, solo self-found is amazingly better off. And if you don't like it, if you're going to complain, well, I can't build my kits immediately. That's the point. The point is just like Ken said, you're assembling the pieces of what you want to build for the kit. It's not going to be the best, but neither is everybody else's kit. That is the whole reasoning for it. It's not like when the market came out, everyone like So Bad, for example, I'm rich. Boy, you had 3 artifacts sitting at 6 artifacts. You were rich before the market came out. Now you just have golden asset. It's like, come on, man. Everybody's at the same power curve when the solo self-found meta exists. And then when everybody goes up in that power curve, we all go up together. When everyone is rich, nobody's rich. When everybody's running 330 move speed, nobody's running 330 move. You know what I mean? That whole dynamic shifts over. Solo self-found, just absolutely unequivocally the best part of the game. A little more tweaking could be done with the vendors and things. Like we had the Nightmare Mummy, so you could purchase your stuff through the bandages, maybe up the bandage drop rate and kind of shift the Nightmare Mummy's quality around. And you could have an incredibly well-balanced gameplay experience that puts you in the dungeon. It's lots of fun.
That's the stuff that makes you play the game. Like we all know me. I'm notorious for not questing ever. You know what I did this season? I had to do some quests. You want to know what? I needed some fucking blue spell books. Because if I don't have blue spell books, I can't play the game. So I had to quest. SSF made me play the game. I did my alchemist quest, got my blue spell books, did my surgeon quest, got my my bandages. Like you have to do that when you know the marketplace. It forces you to play the game and actually play differently. And have
the ungated quests. That was really big too. Taking there was no reason to have it at this point with the amount of gear that flows to the dungeon. And again, people do complain about the lack of gear. I don't get it. Like you were saying, you can go through 5-spell wizard instacast. I can go through purify cleric, and in 2 runs, I can assemble a juicy kit.
To be fair, so I play cleric, I play wizard, I play a lot of different classes. Cleric is probably one of the easiest classes to gear up.
Without question.
You can kill things and you just put on everything. Some classes are notoriously very hard to find gear for. You need very specific gear. Like TM Warlock, it's hard to just find like the healing pieces to be and the true damage pieces.
But now the gemming pieces, with the magical healing is the same as you could gem it. So
helps, for sure. But you still need certain base types. Sometimes you don't get lucky. Sometimes you don't find mystic gloves. You don't find occultist hoods. Where you don't have alternatives, like with a cleric, you put on a hound skull, a chevalier de fer, a top helm, a spangle helm.
We have the most helmets in the game. We do, but really, there's only so many options in the meta of the headshot. In the meta of the headshot damage increase, you are more obligated to pick a heavy headshot reduction piece. And I had a fight last night with a super juiced up barbarian. I grabbed a shrine. I put on a green health pot right before we started the fight, and we duked it out over like a good probably 45 seconds, 60 seconds, and then at the end of it, I live with 1 HP. And so you need to pick and choose and play really efficiently with this. The 200% headshot meta
we'll talk about that.
I like that.
We should go around the board and just see how we feel. We should go pivot to that about 200% headshots.
I'll start by saying I enjoy it just because I like the idea of aiming for the head. I think it, just like solo self-found, if it was a little bit more incorporated with like maybe a headshot not an indicator that's something overwhelming, but like how Overwatch has like that just so you know you've connected with the head. Just a little audio crunch in order to know that you're actually connecting with the head, so you can either play more aggressively or less aggressively, because there's a lot of weapons where the swing pattern is like this, and you're bashing into somebody's arm, but you think you score a headshot, and you did 10% of the damage.
I can definitely I definitely want to hear so about in Arcane, but just to take off your point here about the headshots. I never felt like I wasn't aiming for headshots before. I never was like, man, 150, man, that's just not worth it. I'm gonna hit you in the legs. Like you're always there for headshots before. I think 200's just too much with like some certain scalings. Once you have 200% multipliers, all of a sudden now any weapon with super high base damage just scales way too hard with any amount of fizz power. You run into Bardiche barbarians at this one tap. It's not great. Wormballs, crossbows, longbows, fireballs. Like it's weird for scaling. It's the difference between limbed shots and headshots is just too much.
It's really significant. Yeah.
Headshots have always been rewarding. Like 150 versus like the 70 on limbs was already good. Now we just added like some unnecessary variance. And like I said, the headshots is great for me. I've been only over headshots, and it's been great. I've won a lot.
Yeah, I play with a Morningstar, so it's always cracking heads.
It's not healthy though. I don't think it's healthy at all.
Well, hold on. Now, like I said, it's just like solo self-found, where it is an improvement, but we do need to hone it and kind of like file it down a little bit. If we change the helmets to balance them a little bit better with the headshot protection, you would actually see more gear variance and a little bit better off in the space of surviving those big damaging hits. But we haven't really done anything except crank the dial up in typical Iron Man fashion.
But
just sort of like overbuff over
cranking helmets to compensate, then what's the
Not
point?
cranking them, but adjusting them. You know what I'm saying? Like adjusting weapon damage. There's a lot of stuff you can do to adjust it to make it feel like it's actually meaningful. But yeah, I get what you're saying. It's ridiculous, but it does need to be tweaked around. And I do think it's part of what they want for a faster time to kill, or at least like a skill expression. It's not my ideal skill expression. I'd like to see just a sidestep, a dash, or some kind of other movement-based mechanic that offers skill rather than just like aiming for faces, which is unfortunate.
And to your point about the headshot sound, that's very important. Because now
I just feel like it's a baseline. It should be in there.
Headshots being so important, knowing when you get them is just as important. Because like, how many times did you shot somebody? It looks like you hit him in the head, but it turns out you didn't, and maybe you hit him in the hand. And instead of doing 150 damage, you did 25. But then you make a choice to aggressively push because you thought you did that big damage. So because you didn't have like the correct transfer information from hitting the player versus what your knowledge. Like that's a big problem.
It's not like an overwhelming amount of information. It's just enough to let you know that you're doing something right so that you continue on that path. I feel like it should make a better sound when either like a clanking sound because you're hitting the helmet or something.
It's just dopamine. You ever play Rust and headshots or the counter ding?
And Overwatch, the Overwatch sound, if I'm not mistaken, for the headshot it's literally a beer cap being flipped off of a can or whatever. It's like a shink. Yeah, I remember that because they were trying to design the sound effects, and that noise was always just like. So it would be something that I think we should slap in there.
Let's see what Subed thinks, and we'll go to Arcane because he hasn't played too much yet and see what he thinks. But Subed, you've been playing much. How do you feel about like the headshot multipliers? How's it feel? I saw you get headshot by the ghosting earlier, so that was probably.
I do think monsters maybe shouldn't have it. It's frustrating. I've had a couple kits where I'm in actual like very near abyss. I'm talking uniques with like a 24% headshot reduction helmet. And I still feel like I almost get one shot by like a Nightmare Crossbowman or like a Thanos. It just doesn't feel that great to almost be getting one shot in some of the best gear in the game by a monster. I don't know if let's just tune the monsters back to 150. And then as far as player damage at 200, I can go either way. I don't mind. I see where SCS Vision was for that, where it's a little bit faster time to kill, a little bit more outplay potential. I can also see, like you're saying, where sometimes it's frustrating if I get hit by a longbow or a crossbow and I have like 30% health. And the truth is the bandages and the potions don't really, like if one projectile can make me spend the next like 25 seconds bandaging and healing, or like 14 seconds to surge, it feels like it's more in favor of hyper aggression. It's harder to reset the fight. But again, I can go either way. I used to play battle royales. I also wouldn't mind the sound. I like the dopamine. And lately I've been playing Arena Breakout Infinite, which is like a shooting game that's sort of like Tarkov. And when you hit the headshot,
game, actually. Even
if they have like best in slots, it still gives you the noise. Like even if the bounced off their helmet, like it gives you like a fun little noise. And the more you shoot them, the more you hear it. And then it finals. I don't know if our game needs this, but you can actually hear when you kill somebody in that game. There's like a very specific noise where like they just don't exist.
Yeah, it's the same with Tarkov.
Yeah, and I don't know if we need that. I also am not sure I'm for hearing the noise as much as I would like the dopamine. I kind of like where our game is like a little bit of a guess, because like if you think you got a headshot and you didn't, and you press aggressively and lose, I don't know, maybe you shouldn't have pressed. But like again, I can go either way.
This is weird with like the way hands move sometimes. Sometimes you're shooting a spell on your hands in the air, and hits them in the face, and it's like it's hard to really tell. And
when you're fighting somebody with like a morning star, that like 3 out of 4 swings into whatever is directly in front of my face. So I've actually hit a guy at the tip of his hand thinking I hit him in the head because his swing was like midway through. And it's like, holy fuck, he didn't die. But it's like I arm shot him twice with no knowledge I could have done that just because of desync and weird frame lag. True. And there's just no way of knowing that you're not hitting the head is my kind of point. The game lends itself to that a lot.
Where he goes poke, and you're like sure you hit head, and you
hit the fingertips.
Yeah, you did like half damage or whatever.
And since your weapon connects with the first thing it's in the way of, it doesn't go through and hit the fingers and the head. Which please don't get that as a fucking idea, Iron Mace. For the love of God, that's not an idea. That's not a good thing. Yeah, like I hit your finger, your head, your helmet, your toes, your chest, your legs. Like no, please just fix this one thing.
Definitely they shouldn't go that way, but to be fair, the fact that you can hit any body part and then drag into a parry or drag into a shield, almost
that's weird.
Like you should be double cleaving damage if you're cleaving.
I think that's a weird desync problem because I've been having that, and I think we can talk about the desync too because it's been atrocious. Ever since there was a patch in like I want to say August that came out where the servers have been on fire ever since, and they have done no addressing and no talking about it. I'm not crazy. I can confirm it. I've got the clips to back it up. The mob AI is everything. It's like, imagine a game like a Counter-Strike with 120
this is a good place to segue Arcane.
Oh, yeah,
he's taking a break.
Oh yeah.
So he can actually, maybe he could feel the difference with the servers from when he last played to now, because I noticed it too, but I'm curious actually if you've noticed it in your 2 games you played.
I didn't, though. The full disclaimer here is that when I logged on today for the first time since June, I was level 1. So my mode was, okay, I need to get my sea legs back, and I need to get to level 15 to be able to go actually do anything. So I went straight into adventure mode to see how that's changed. And I ran 3 raids. It took right around 70, 80 minutes, let's say. So I did Castle twice and Goblin Caves once. I've played this game for 2,000 plus hours, and today was the first time I ever found a mystical gem in Raid. And I'd read in the patch notes that they changed keys, and that to me was like keys and mystical gems, I guess is part of that list because it is a key. That to me was one of the biggest W's that I've read in a patch note in a long time.
Yep.
Like, holy shit, they made keys actually useful. They're disintegrating at the end of a raid, so now people aren't infinitely wealthy because of keys. And I got the gem. It just so when I picked it off the centipede, it was like, you've got to be shitting me. And then I kind of had that light bulb go off that they had changed things. And I look at the map and I'm 2 rooms over for where the gem room is. I had to really think about where it was for a second, and I didn't feel like getting on spells and guns to confirm it, so I just wandered over to that room, went down the little well, and opened it up, got to pull from the pile, got a decent chest piece for a marvelous chest. And it was a good, fun raid. But all in all, did I notice desync? No. Have I noticed headshots? Only once. When I was down in Inferno on my second raid, I got hit in the head by a berserker and like chunked me. I was wearing a fair amount of gear. Like, I was definitely not unarmored, and I had 122 health, which isn't great, but I mean, keep in mind, I was like level 7 at the time, but I was a cleric, so I could wear, like Ken said, I can just wear anything I pick up, right? I had a gambeson on, I had some cloth pants, some strength boots, cape, all rings, neck. I had pretty much my full kit that I needed to venture down there. I took 1 shot in the dome from a berserker, and I went running for the little hallway in between whatever that room is with the stairs that go up, and you've got
if you're in HR, you're dead. It's like getting
in HR. In HR, I would have been
I
would have been toast. Like, he would have caught me or hit me on the second shot. But yeah, so the headshot, it's hard for me to tell because I haven't even really got into norms since June to see how it feels to actually PvP. But I didn't really notice too much desync, at least against. I didn't feel like any of the hits from the mobs were desync issues. So that part was good.
Let me ask, and also to reference it for later. One of the things that you noticed, that I noticed first, was the monster aggression tables. Like, monsters will walk to your position constantly. No, they it's like, okay, so every like 0.1 second, the monster is checking your location. It feels like every 3 seconds or so, the monster is checking your location. Like, well, you walk into a room, you aggro a skeleton, you're still progressing through the room, but that skeleton is on a path right to where you walked in the door.
Or maybe
stands there.
The tick rates on the servers are lower. You know?
Yeah, I feel like the tick rate, the refresh rate, you know, if you're a netcode guy, then you know what I'm talking about. But the refresh rate feels like it's gone down by like 90%.
Totally agree.
I have monsters walking up to the area I've already been, like the zombies, when you walk in and you aggro a zombie and you can kind of keep it at like a dancing distance so that it never actually spews its goo. That's almost impossible because they'll just walk to where I've been 3 seconds ago, stand there for a second, and then shoot their fucking gas cloud out. So it's noticeably different. And then when I started playing Ranger in the arenas, I was like, oh my God, it feels like I'm playing on US East back in the day when you could actually region select, which was great. That's another thing I guess we get into. But yeah, key change, range, and region select. That playing on East feels like I'm playing on Southeast Asia. It's atrocious. I have no idea where my arrows are going to go. I put them in your general direction and they cross my fingers. It feels really bad. But the monster thing is the thing I noticed absolutely, unequivocally. Like, it's hard to ignore. If you know what I'm talking about, like, just think back to your experiences. You'll start to see it more and more as time goes on. That's the biggest detractor. And then, of course, you have the desync between blocking or getting the extra hit on a long sword parry after you've already cracked him in the skull and so on. But yeah, it definitely just feels downgraded. I don't think it's a change in the server's location. I think it's an actual, like, something in the back end in the server or items is causing problems.
Yeah. Well, I know we kind of glossed over the key thing because we started talking about servers, but I kind of want to go back to the keys for a minute. I think the key change was definitely a positive. I definitely think it could be way better. There's like a million different ways you could do it. It's probably better than the way it is. Even just making it so you could extract with keys and they just not be tradable and you can bring them in whenever you want.
Yep.
Or if you don't want to go that far, you could, when the keys drop, and you know how they delete at the end of a raid, maybe let them survive one raid so you can extract once with it and bring him in the next raid. And then, but if it's 2 raids, it's, or you can't put it in your bank. You can't bank it pretty much. You have to use it. It has to stay in your inventory. Kind of thing. So sometimes you find it and there's like 5 minutes left in the raid. I just don't have time to use it. I have the skill key. I want to use it, but I can't. Oh, it feels bad. It feels bad. There's not enough time, especially in HR when you have the swarm and the circle and the harder. It's like you just don't have time to use keys most of the time, and it's kind of a feel bad moment.
Well, I was talking about it.
Yeah, though they had the right idea.
I was talking about it with some of the other creators, and a lot of them get really frustrated over the idea. Well, it's not in the storm. I can't go out there, or it's like all it really is a healing tax. It's just like the swarm is a healing tax. If you want to use that key, you better have brought extra potions. If you have the idea that you're going to target it.
The whole purpose of
it sucks.
Is to create a point of interest, and if your point of interest is in an area where it's super inconvenient and unfun to be, that is no longer interest. That is a point of uninterest.
Yes, I understand that. It's just one of those things where, like, I guess that Iron Mace knew. I'm going to assume that they had to know. If you're going to put a circle in that tells you where to... Yeah, I know, no circle in normals. It would be wonderful. But, like, the swarm is literally just an inconvenience factor. It's a poor tax. It's an extra potions every raid that I have to bring specifically with the purpose of, well, I'm probably going to get screwed by the storm at some point. I'm going to have to sit in there and I'm going to bring, like, an extra 2 stacks of potions. It doesn't do anything else except... generally
make you unhappy.
It really. So that's the problem I have.
Are supposed to make you happy and give you dopamine.
Well, I'm saying, like, I don't know what Iron Mace is doing, but right now they're not. When they say shit or get off the pot, either like ramp the storm damage to make it meaningful, and I don't want it to be like a please take this idea. I'm just saying that Iron Mace has to go one of 2 directions: get rid of the swarm entirely because it's a huge waste of space and nobody likes it, which is option 1. I support that. Option 2 is to actually make it meaningful, reduce the healing that you can do inside the swarm, or make it do damage that forces people out of the swarm. Because right now we have Battlefield 6. Battlefield 6 is going to have a ring that supposedly instantly kills you. I think that's way too extreme, and I think it's going to be horrible. You're going to have people camping the edges of corners and spawn points, or sorry, not spawn points, but like choke points, holding you off because the swarm is going to force you directly into them. There's no route around it. Like, I think that'll probably get changed, but the idea is that, like, they took it to the level they needed to perform in their game. They made it so it'll just knock you right out, kills you. Iron Mace kind of like dawdles on this, and it doesn't really make it feel more intense. It's like I said, it's an inconvenience tax, but maybe that's just the 6,000 hour Sweat Lord player talking about it. I'm not scared of it. I spent most of my time, even when it was like pushing for rank 1 cleric. That's what I did. I sat in the swarm. What are you going to fucking do? Fight me in the swarm? Please, I beg you to. That was like my experience. I've always been a swarm lord. I've been dancing through it back and forth. But it's just obnoxious. Even when I don't have spells, I feel like just a couple of extra potions is enough to get through the swarm. It doesn't do enough to force players anywhere. It doesn't do anything except create an inconvenience for the newer groups.
It just means you can't see or hear and just like pisses you off and makes you
Rogues
angry.
Can't stealth.
Yeah, it turns some classes off.
Druids can't rat.
It's, unequally affecting classes. That's good for the improv.
Never mind. Buff the swarm. I want the swarm to stay. No druids. Screw them.
I don't think we need swarm either. Playing all these other extraction games lately, nobody else has the swarm mechanic, and I think it also helps the newer players that just wander around the outside of the map. They're not as pressured for time, especially with continuous dungeons. Sometimes you're just placed into the dungeon like a quarter of the way through, or you're already on the edge. And then for us, as like really good players, we just make our way to the circle. But I think the majority of the player base is suffering from the circle. And in fact, I think we are as well. And like Ken said, it would be nice to get the key and be like, well, there's only 4 minutes left, but at least I don't have to run through the swarm to like figure it out and have the audio and visual issues that come with it. I'm just not sure it's for us anymore. I think it used to feel more like a BR, back when all the portals were random and like everybody was constantly sealing each other's portals to survive. Like OG Dark, the Swarm made sense. And now, like a lot of the other ideas, they're evolving alongside the community in each wipe. And probably we could try a wipe not having an HR Swarm. And then the keys, like you said, I love the key changes, first and foremost. They probably could do better, but this is the most keys I've ever had. It's the most fights I've had at key rooms. It's cool just to go there and it's already empty, and you're like, damn, like somebody must have got that key on floor 1 of Ruins and came straight to gold key, because like I beat Lich. But like it gives a little bit more POIs and it spreads the wealth out a bit more. And there is a lot of dopamine with the keys. And I would like to see a keychain, or maybe even like a dimensional pocket. And like Ken said, maybe you can't sell them. Or maybe they have uses. And so like kind of like Tarkov, right? Like everybody can bring keys. And so then you just have that POI is farmed way more often and you get way more fights there. So maybe it lasts an unlimited amount of raids, but you just can't sell it or like put it in your storage.
Maybe you can't bank it, yeah. So it has to say on you or your toolbar or something. You have to
I
use
think
it
it's
eventually.
better.
Cool
No, I disagree, because you want people going for the champs every run. You want people going for the Wraith. You want people going for the Yeti. If you take that out and let them bring it out, you immediately remove that POI. So like leave the POIs in, because that's the whole point of the focus, is to put people spreading out. You don't just load in and go, I've got my key, I'm going to the room. You still have to go to that first POI to roll your dice.
But that's good though. I think you want them to spread out, because like it's not like you go to the gold key room. And
Well, that's the point, is they are spread out. If you take them away,
they go to the gold key room and then they sit there for 5 minutes hitting a pile. So they're there for a while. It's not like they get hit. Not like Tarkov, where you go hit your 301 key, get your Linux and your GPU, shove it up your ass, and go to the fucking extract. You know, you're there for a while, and like there's signs of you being there. If you're gonna get caught, like having multiple POIs is great. Because like right now, I play Crips. I go to the boss. Oh, nobody's on boss. Damn. Usually, you used to be. Oh, nobody's on boss. Dead raid. I'm like, oh, no one's on boss. I'm check gold key. Oh wait, someone's on gold key. Or no one's. Oh, maybe they're in the double boss room on the other gold pile. Where there's like so many points of interest now that like if I don't find somebody, I have other place to look. Whereas previously it was just boss. Oh, they're not on boss. Hit a blue reset. Try again.
Agreed.
yeah, I'm just saying the more POIs, I like the idea of having to hunt them down every single raid, because it does move you around the map. Even if you're going in, it's not just your W keying, or if you get a lucky spawn next to the golden key room, you're the first one to loot it.
That everybody has keys, like I said. So once you make it so the keys persist and you can't stash them, you could bring back the drop rate, not to where it was before, but maybe make it like 20%. So you have to kill a couple of champs to get one, but when you have it, you don't have to use that raid. You can carry it out, use the next raid, and then you can go over the plan. Okay, guys, I got a key. Here's our plan. We're gonna do this, this, and this. And it's not like it's gonna hit every raid. But it's I don't know. It just feels bad. Like I see keys drop every raid. I've had 100 keys drop in a row. I've maybe hit 3 because I've had time.
To be fair, you also kind of you do focus more on the PvP. Like when I load into and the difference between high roller and normals, I would say is significant in the aspect of like what you're going for and what I'm going for. Like when I get a key, you better believe I'm hitting that room, like without question. Especially in HR, I'm absolutely into that room.
If the game lets me, like, but there's lots of players that don't want you to do that. You know,
I mean, that's an East and West thing, man. I don't get that. I have such a different experience.
I PvP game, sadly, like I float in, there's people in my game. It's crazy. And that's a weird thing. But
yeah, and only on your servers that I can't select. So region lock, when do we get to yell about that one? When do we get to just bash them for the terrible decision that was?
I mean, I think that's going to be reversed in the near future, so I kind of wait and see.
If it was going to get reversed, it should have been reversed so long ago. They're doubling, quadrupling, quintupling, pentupling. I don't even know anymore, man. At this point, it's universally hated. It's like child labor, man. Everybody hates it, and they still just sit on this perch of like, region lock, we did it, guys. You fucking did nothing, man. You're like the TSA. You showed up and nobody changed. Nothing changed. You've made everything worse. Get rid of it. Like, geez, every single portion of it, it was a complete objective failure. It's done nothing. Anyways, I obviously don't like region lock.
Well, that's because you live.
It just, I'm a West Coast.
Yes.
Okay, dude.
Have you thought about moving? Come on.
True.
It's such a giant failure, and like you can't look at it and point to the good portion of it. There's actually nothing about it that is beneficial. It's only been negatives, and they're still like, yeah, we're working on it. You can't just go back to when we didn't have it. You can't go back to the times where it was gone. Is it that hard? And then I think about the arena map pool, and I just sit there and stew in my own filth.
Maybe they're saving all of these big QOL changes and ideas for season 7. They're really going to try to get a bunch of wins in a row. The make or break wipe, they're looking like what on the list would help us make, right? It's like they're fixed region lock, fixed desync.
I don't want to be edged all the way to the season 7 wipe. Just
That's
give
a
me
week
the good
away,
shit now.
Dude. 1 week.
It is now. It's been 3 months.
Yeah, so what's one
I've had to sit there on the West Coast. I had a 3+ hour arena queue. For the love of God, there is no reason. Well, I mean, of course, if they had better maps and actually cared about the arena, we'd have more players and it wouldn't be a 3-hour queue. But also, if I could just switch regions to a populated region and play the fucking game, man. Plus the stream snipers with continuous dungeon. I don't even want to get started on it's such a complete shit show.
All right. Well, speaking of shit show, will water map save Dark and Darker?
I think that's going to be great, but I know that they're going to have like a shitload of other changes coming with water map.
This one's more speculative, so we can get Arcane in here since it's not really based on this season's gameplay. So let's start with Arcane here.
Yeah, good call.
So I saw some of the teasers, and I mean the obvious thing that stands out apart from the theme is the lack of the modular feeling, right? Like this will be the first map that doesn't feel like you're in a 5x5 grid, 3x3, 4x4, whatever we have now. I think we still have
They're all 5
right?
by.
Are they all 5s now again, or do we still have? Okay. So we're all 5s. But yeah, I mean, all of the maps to me still feel like just 5x5 boxes. Like every room is door and door for the most part. And like Ice Caverns was the first map that I can remember. Goblin Caves may have done a combined module at one point. But Ice Caverns, when they first released that, one of the few redeeming qualities about it was that down in the south middle part of the map, they combined 2, maybe even 3 modules.
Yeah. Well, Ruins did it first with Bridge, right? That's a 1x2.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Ruins did. You're right.
Ice Caves has been doing it too, which is very interesting. I do like the super modules or Coliseum. That's a 2x2.
Yep. But that to me really stood out as feeling like it was a much bigger environment, whereas those other ones, for whatever reason, didn't stand out to me personally. But when I saw the teasers for the water map, it was like, oh shit, this is actually going to feel like a completely different world and environment. So that part of it, I'm super geeked about. Like, I didn't think I was going to be remotely excited. When I took my little exodus, I truly thought we might be seeing the end of the game. I mean, the player base had gone down to 3,000, I think, concurrent. And
I learned that.
Yeah, I mean, it was looking really bleak. I thought that the next time we got on here, it was going to be the Fold of the Line episode. But yeah,
I almost like that. I almost want to die now because that's a good name.
That's pretty good.
But now
saving that one,
I have hope. I like where the player base is at now. It's reasonable and sustainable. I think if Iron Mace is pinching pennies and they don't get hammered over the head in the lawsuit from Nexon and whatever the future brings for that, they have a shot if they can maintain a 10,000 concurrent player base and do something really good in this next wipe. I think you'll bring people back. They could get back to 20,000. I don't know if the old projections or hopes and dreams that we all had of 50 to 100,000 concurrent is on the table anytime soon. But you got to take baby steps, and if you can win people back in this next wipe, I think the game might survive after all. So I'm really stoked. The water map looks really cool. I hope they introduce fishing and all the other new mechanics that it seems like are going to be possible with all these water creatures that don't look like actual mobs and may have other utility within the game. I'm optimistic, but I do agree in the way that you phrased it, SBS. It is the make or break wipe. If it doesn't go well, I think we will have the Fold the Line episode.
I think they've said that too. I think they said the words "make or break" or "they're all in" or something.
Yeah.
Some SF said something like along those lines in the kitchen or somewhere. But touch on that point before I talk about the water map. But like just the game health and stuff. These kind of games, and what I mean by that is like games with seasonal wipes and you know that wipe progress every couple months. Resilient. The one good wipe. All you need is like one really good patch, and people come back. And then you can have another good patch. And people forget. It's very easy for people to forget about the past when it's a wipe-based game. Like, that was last season. Rock that. This season's lit. You'll get back on, boys. Dude. Patch. It fix all these problems. Get on. Yeah. Because I know that these kind of games are the kind of games that could bounce back really, really hard, unlike some other games, you know, other genres anyway. So if they do things right, we're chilling. It's a big if, though. I think putting all your eggs in a watery basket with a swimming mechanic is risky, to say the least. But
They could have done any other location.
yeah, like I said, not what I would do. But it looks cool. Like the theme's cool. I mean, I'm just very worried about swimming. we've already having performance issues, and from my experience playing games, adding a bunch of water physics doesn't make performance better.
Right.
And all the teasers they've sent, the performance in those teaser videos doesn't look great, and that's on their NASA computers in the office with the renders out. So I don't know. I'm hopeful. I think the vibes cool. I do like how the map looks open and it's not door and door. One of my biggest gripes for years now has been how, yes, I'm playing Ice Caves, I'm playing Goblin Caves, I'm playing Crypts, I'm playing Runes, I'm playing Inferno, I'm playing Ice Abyss. These are all different maps, but all my fights feel the same because they happen in a 1x2 doorway. It doesn't matter what color it is, it's the same fight because it's in the same doorway. And that's why arena fights feel so good, because they happen in the module and like they're fun. And hopefully that they if they learn one thing from this, maybe that a more open map is better. And so I'm hopeful. I'm worried, but I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I play the guy with no range, so I don't like open maps, but also a swimming mechanic.
You can have an open map, like what I mean by open, just
I know what you mean, like spaces.
You can still have cover. You still have an openish map with enough cover for melees. Like think
You're not talking about the drain map in the arenas. You're talking about the Goblin Elevator, where there's cover and approach points.
Yeah, I was gonna say Goblin Elevator is a perfect example where it's an open map, but you have pillars, you have cover. You can play melee and like find areas to close gaps as a melee player in an open area. It's actually very well designed. It's not like the easiest thing, but it's doable, and it's kind of how it should be.
Yeah, and the water map, like you said, though, I think it is terrifying to think that the only concept to grab from was the idea of a water map to base it. Like, we have no desert. We have no desert. We have no, we have a lot of different climates and places you could have gone. We could have made like a pyramid Aztecian, like crazed out. But no, we went with water map. And historically, water maps are completely disgusting, horrible scars upon us that we still sit there and bear to this day, like the Zelda water maps. I've never been like, man, I'm excited to get to the water level in anything.
You're pissing me off.
No. The water temple and an Ocarina of Time is the single worst.
Oh my god.
All right, dude. There's obviously, I always knew it's the trend. Anyways, the whole point of it being there's no good example I can give for the water maps, but I can give tons of different examples of all the different scenarios and places. But again, with a swimming mechanic being the big brunt of it, that's kind of something I'm not a ranged character, so I'm not sure how I'm going to enjoy that or how it's going to function. I'm excited to see what it's like in the actual map.
Because it's like, it just changes the combat like entirely. And like,
yeah,
now you have to bounce for that, but if you bounce for that, you might fuck up other, the regular combat.
So I don't know why they opted this massive plate of potential shit when they could have just made another map and just made a better, like, reskin the modules and textures and shove them.
Make another map, but yeah. Sorry.
We also have the Gathering Hall coming with this update, supposedly. You know what I mean? I don't know what you guys are hoping for, but
we'll get there.
Okay, so just to finish,
talk about moisture yet or no?
About what?
No, I like a lot of what Ken said. I'm sort of worried about what NBoss said as well. I think from everything we've seen, the open sidelines are like infinite, so I just don't see how any class other than range is going to have that good of a time on water map unless you're specifically at like a ship POI. Some of those side lanes are literally like as far as you can see, and there's no drop on
maybe there's
artifacts,
fog.
and maybe like the further you are, there's like
It wouldn't be
blur
bad
or
if there was like a
something.
roaming fog even through the map that like prevented, it's like it reduces your vision down to whatever size. But we also know that if you're
True.
standing in the runes module and you're by the golem, you can't see players that are all the way on the other end because they don't
You're right.
draw. Yeah.
You're right, actually. Okay.
Wait, dude, swimming around with the Pavis. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Well, at least I know where you are in the map.
No, true. But yeah, I like what Ken said. It's why do this compared to another map? I agree. This is like our first actual open map. Plus, it has zip lining and boats. So they're adding like a whole other traverse element, and this might be one of the first maps that feels like an actual adventure. Like you just get together and you're just like roaming around. Plus, there's 2 new bosses, 2 new artifacts. Like there's a lot of things coming alongside that, and it works in conjunction with what we have. Because that every map in the game has water, right? Like Crypts has a water module, Ice does, and so does Goblin. And so it'll be fun to actually swim through those to get to the next location. And hopefully the monsters will also swim.
I'm worried about like a new queue though, like, for the water map. Adding more queues is always bad. I think what they should do, like at least for a test period or for the season, is maybe take the water map and just replace ruins. So you just like you start water map, but then you can go into Crypts Inferno. You always start water. Well, the quest on runes. I mean,
well, I think at the beginning the queue won't be a big issue because I actually agree with Arcane here. Because it is a wipe-based game and this is the make or break wipe and people are going to start hyping it up, I'm also almost positive we're going to get like Twitch drops. There's going to be like a lot of new stuff. Maybe they'll do some marketing. They're already doing YouTube shorts and teasers all the time. We're also getting guns. And so hopefully I'm pretty sure
we're talking about the positives here. We're talking about the positives.
There's a lot of guns to work on.
I'm pretty sure we're going to get 10 to 20K on launch day. It won't be as big as it used to be. But like Ken said, it's a wipe-based game, so I don't even know if I agree that this will be a make or break wipe, because they just added Xbox controller support. They've expressed in the past that they want to release to consoles. So like there are ways to get more players in, and we're still in early access, right? Like Tarkov waited 10 years before it did its like 1.0 big launch, and Arena Breakout tomorrow will be free launch on Steam and Epic. So like there's just other ways, and like you said, like if it's not that great, people forget about it, and then a year later they're like, oh shit, like that's still going. Like I get people in my chat all the time that are like, hey, I'm just coming back, is it worth coming back? I haven't been around for like 8 months, what's new? And I'm like, dude, now we got artifact quests, we got rares in the arena, we have a new wipe in a week. Like that situation invites players to come back, and I think that's overall good for the game. So I'm pretty optimistic. I don't think, like I said, I don't think it will make or break the game, but as long as we make incremental upgrades every wipe, then we should be on the right track. Like we lost a lot of players for sure, and they lost a lot of bad faith with some of their updates and designs. But like, by season 8, that'll just be the one bad season we had, and then we'll be like slowly crawling forward. So that's just
I thought about that for patch number 69, and then we got it again 9 months fucking later. So I maintain this air of complete like, it can't get worse, but it probably will. It's just like how, I mean, this probably comes from more of an arena player. Like every single patch note that I read, we're getting new modules in the arena. My spine tingles with fear. It's like running up the stairs with the basement light off. It's just fucking embarrassing that you could continually shovel out the worst modules in existence and not know what's wrong with them. Every time when we were running through the new ice maps, I was like, man, these are really cool. Man, they would suck in the arena. Oh God, we're going to get them in the arena. Then this wipe came out and we got the maps in the arena now. Like it's honestly a crime against humanity. Whoever is selecting the maps, you need to reevaluate the position at the company, Iron Maze. Please, for the love of God, let a player vote. You don't need 10 maps. You just need 3. Sorry, I'm done. I'm not going to keep going. Go next.
So a couple add-on thoughts there. In terms of it being make or break, I do remember, Ken, I think you mentioned that SDF made a similar comment or used similar phrasing somewhere in the patch notes. I do vaguely remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember reading it.
Yeah.
They know it's important for sure. That much is
no
clear.
doubt.
Yeah.
Right. So from a financial company stays alive aspect, they're looking at 3 primary angles, right? They need new players for game sales. They need existing players to come back for more microtransactions, and they need the lawsuit to not screw them over completely. Those are their 3 primary channels that they have to worry about right now. They can't control the lawsuit really a whole lot at this point. That's kind of in the hands of the lawyers, it seems like. But they can control what map they decide to work on. And I totally agree with you guys. Like the two hardest things, the most challenging things you could try to implement are a water map or space map, where you have like complete,
or like a shapeshifter.
like 360 degrees of space to execute combat in. Like, do you like in the current state of the game? And granted, I know they started this when did they announce a water map? Was it last
Dude, this
October?
has been a long time.
Was it before last October? Yeah, we may be over a year since this map was announced, actually. So at some point, though, like when things started trending downhill and the verdict came out about how much they were supposed to pay, in my opinion, someone there should have said, maybe we nix the water map idea and go with something a little bit easier to execute. But they're all in. So in some ways, I respect it. They've stuck to it. And it seems like maybe because we've had delay, semi-wipe, semi-wipe, it seems like just maybe they are taking the time necessary to make sure it's not going to be absolute shit on launch. So I wouldn't be shocked if they delay it again. And as pissed as people would assuredly be, it's still better than what we've complained about in the past, which has been their MO for shipping stuff that's not ready. So
a red flag for me though, is that I think they're going to be going live with this patch with 0 player testing on it whatsoever, which,
yeah, that's
probably not good. Which means like there's going to be a lot of oversights.
Sork out of bounds, druids under the map.
Players are going to find all these weird spots because that's what we do. That they definitely didn't test for. We've been here before, so.
And to add to that,
there's going to be a lot of troubleshooting. This is going to be like a troubleshooting season, which isn't what you want your make or break season to be.
right.
So
and to add, they made this bet, right? Like, this is not something that was forced on them. They chose to delay all of their updates to one giant explosion of content instead of giving us any sort of drip feed or changes or balancing, really. Like, we all know that they're going to be some 10 pages of patch notes, assumingly, with all of these nerfs and buffs to different abilities. And at that time, I'm thinking like, okay, so they're going to buff a bunch of underused stuff. They're going to nerf a bunch of overused stuff. They're going to add a water map. They're going to add guns. They're going to add new, like, it's going to be a balancing nightmare because instead of utilizing the last 3 wipes to fine tweak this, we just get it all shoveled out now. And this is all like, it's a self-imposed exile. They're doing this to themselves and trying a new way of doing things. And I hope it works out, but it's also simultaneously the craziest shit I've ever heard in my life. Like, we're going to just put everything we can into the make or break. That, with no internal testing, like you said, this is a terrible idea. Sork came out and it took 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes, to figure out how busted the lightning storm combination was. In 2 seconds of player testing, that would have been relieved and never been a complete shit show for launch. But instead, they chose not to give us anything to create that artificial scarcity, and it blew up in their faces. So I don't understand the dynamic there. Like, let people mess around with it, fix the things, and then you can deliver a more fully fleshed out product. Instead, this whole like build up to it is just creating the expectation that's going to be a disappointment in my mind. Like, I don't think there's any way you can possibly push out this much content and not have some things be broken, undertuned, or underwhelming and just not synergize with each other.
All right, I agree with that completely. I've done a lot of not complaining this podcast, but 100%, we've had maps that are just absolute dog shit that didn't get tested. Like when Goblin came out, it was literally a PowerPoint show with the low frames for like weeks. That map was unplayable. Sorcerer was a little asshole when it got launched. I can't believe it was one-shotting with Lightning Storm in Squire gear, and then chain lightning through walls, killing everybody.
Yeah, it's things that you would find with 5 minutes of testing.
5 minutes, I
literally
that.
Which
so
also makes me think they didn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, if they played for 5 minutes.
The good news is that they recently went on a big rant about how important test server was and how they're going to change the way that they've been dealing with that. And so thankfully, the
and then
test
we got
server is
patch
up to
69
date.
again.
And the test server is like 2 months behind. And where the fuck is water map? And why isn't it on the test server? we should be testing this before the make
could
or
have
break
had
wipe. I 100% agree
Arena
with that.
modules from the water map to tease people. There are so many things we could have done. We did nothing.
There should be a public test server, and that shit should be on there 2 weeks ahead of the wipe. And they literally just talked in extensive paragraphs in the kitchen about how important test server is going to be. And they didn't live up to that. And that actually is a disappointment. And you're right. I bet water map will be very dangerous. Hopefully it'll be fun enough where we just like wipe it off. But I will say the last 2 months, both these baby wipes, they've had almost no patch notes. We used to get like Thursday patches all the time with long lists of notes. And the last 2 months have been very quiet on the Eastern Front. So I'm assuming that they're going all in on internal testing and Q&A and the water map. But I actually agree with you guys. It is dangerous. We're like a week away and we've just seen like a couple little snippets. And also Ken was right. Some of those water snippets are so laggy. Like, aren't they on like an insane, like you said, like, aren't they on a NASA computer?
Yeah.
And like Iron Mace HQ? If that's laggy for them, we're fucked.
Some red flags. Like I'm trying to stay hopeful here, but I'm not ignorant either.
Optimistically afraid.
I'm terrified, but like I said, I think as an arena player now, that one just absolutely, I have the lowest bar, and they manage to shimmy under it sometimes.
You ready for like some water arena maps, some like Vashir arena? Sit in there.
Oh, everything hurts. Everything just hurts, man.
You come out of a cove and there's like two modules worth of distance between you and the other team, and it's just water.
Yeah, what if it's like two pirate ships that you can control at Sea of Thieves, but darker and darker? Oh my god, I'm in there.
And because you're a cleric,
so
you get penalized for wearing heavy armor too. So you're even
I just
slower.
sent to the
You
bottom.
walk on the bottom.
Well, let's on the next thing we had to talk about. What was it? I just had the Gathering Hall, and what you guys think it might be including. I think the Gathering Hall is going to be really nice, assuming that that's part of why we have another month-long delay.
Let's go down. So we don't really know what it is, right? So maybe we can
I'm just going to spitball.
Speculate, and we can start with you, but it's kind of.
I figured the Gathering Hall itself would be just a minimal social hub, allowing you to just like imagine the tavern, but like add the Coliseum module to it, and like maybe another module, and like if you enter the Coliseum, you can just have a PvP battle with like an arena setup, or being able to launch your own custom arena matches from there. That would be some interesting stuff, being able to vote on it. Then it gives a ton of replayability just by adding the option for people to like battle each other in a custom arena or custom like actual game mode. Kind of like how Tarkov has an offline mode where you go in with your kit, and if you die, you've lost nothing. Even if you win, you've gained nothing. The whole point is just to go in and battle or have custom game modes, create tournaments. Like that would be so much for replayability alone that it would almost overshadow the water map's existence. Just the guild halls themselves have that potential depending on how well they're executed. And I think it's going to be like, custom player server selection where, let's say Ken is having Trend Night Fridays where you go in and you only play Wizard. Every night. You go in, you only play Wizard, and you can only cast fireballs, and that's the entirety. It's like old school versions of rockets or shotgun snipers, or just rocket launchers only, or there's so much replayability that you can have there with those selections. And if somebody, doesn't want to play that, they can go do another game mode and play like regular 3v3s, but it'll actually allow people to do that themselves, and it'll be so much more fun to have that opportunity. And yeah, guild battles and stuff will be coming, but like I'm setting the bar again pretty low. Even though I think with the custom servers for Arena.
That's kind of similar to what I think. I think like probably what they should do or what I would do. If you take the Gathering Hall like channels where you can go find people to play with right now. You're like East, West, China, whatever, and you make them like the old tavern. Maybe expand it, make it bigger, make it a 100-man, server that you can go in and leave whenever you want. Just like pop in. You have 100 people in there. You could VoIP. You have all of your vendors that are NPCs in there that you can interact with vendors. You could have a public quest board for maybe daily or weekly quests. You could use your invite to party features in there. You could find players. You could have a duel mechanics active. You could access your stats. It should just be a place for players to interact friendly.
Even let you queue.
Testing. You can queue. So you can queue from there. You could have a queue board. And you could have your queue for arena, queue for whatever you want in there, with people that you may have found in there, which could be very nice and cool. But just like a place where you can interact with players safely, but like socially, but also could do like damage testing on dummies or testing things on duels. If you allow duels, and people could make like duel events and just really encourage the more social aspects of the game. Where, that's where I feel like we lost a lot of that. Like, the beauty of this game from the very beginning has been that it's a fun PvP game, a dungeon extraction game, but like player interaction has always been like the backbone, and we've gotten like less and less player interaction the longer the game has gone along. So hopefully the Gathering Hall brings us back, please.
It'll be
please.
the first.
After that, you expand into guilds. Sorry.
It'll be the first appropriate space for inspecting people that we've had.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, you could have a crafting table, and whatever you craft, it's just like auto linked into like the area chat, and so like
people in there just like wiping yo, selling
like damn, look at those rolls you just got.
Joe, you want to buy this? Yo, come to this shady corner. I'm gonna sell you this fucking ghostly essence.
I'm picturing like the cycle where like you come out of dungeon and it just puts you into a social space, like the tavern,
right?
Like the old tavern, but then there's like a little outside for dueling, maybe fishing, like you said, a quest board would be really cool. I don't want to run all over the goddamn place like an MMO. Like we need like a table, and you can just do all of the crafts at one table, and then like 2 or 3 vendors that let you access.
It's that cool to be loaded to the Gathering Hall. You like there's fucking Harry's in there. Is craft and Cloak of Darkness is for anybody who doesn't have the craft. 100 gold fee though. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm fucking pissed.
Yeah, that's
That's
cool.
all I can think about with Harry. I love that.
Cool. And then I'm sort of nervous a little bit because they initially said they wanted to make us rent that social space,
the cash
tavern
purchase.
table. Yeah, you could like make furniture for it, and then you would like rent it on a month-to-month basis. Then people could come to like your Gathering Hall essentially. And I could see where like maybe that would work, but I just think public reception would be poor toward that. But like Arcane said, they're trying to get new players in, and they want returning and existing players to delve into some microtransactions. So I definitely think from now on, based on what I imagine to be a very successful season pass, we will have season passes from now on with like the added stash and like a couple other like bric-a-brac or what have you. I think that's a permanent feature now. We're gonna get that every season. And they what they want to do is do 3 wipes per year, right? They mentioned they want to do 4-month wipes. That's like their sweet spot for getting the content out on time. So like $5 or $6 or $7, every season. It's pretty manageable, I think. Plus it came with a skin and maybe some other stuff. I don't remember. I didn't buy it and I actually regret not buying it.
It was pay to win. And I hate to be that guy. I don't like it because it is, in fact, and if you have spent a single dollar that improves your character's power before hitting the play button, that's pay to win. And the potions are definitely pay to win. As tiny and mediocre as it is, and how many people you're going to kill and take them from is irrelevant. It is pay to win. And I don't like that as a feature, considering there is so many other avenues that people would willingly spend money on. To sell it back in a form of player power it's shameful. It's something that they deviated from, and that's something that I was propping them up on a pedestal for a very long time, which they have knocked themselves down. I didn't do anything. They knocked themselves off that pedestal piece by piece. And that's just one of those things where like we could have offered more skins. We could have offered weapon skins, armor skins, emotes. But what did we do? We went with a season pass. I'm not saying the shared stash tab isn't great. I love it. I will buy it every single time. I'm going to buy the season pass every single time. But if you have spent money and your character goes into a dungeon at 0 minutes played and has an advantage over somebody else that didn't spend money, that's pay to win, even if it's the tiniest amount. All right, I killed everybody, but it's not an end boss. It's not an L take. This is the fact of the matter stands.
It really is. But
like you can argue against it, but I'm just saying that is a truth. It's a truth.
I don't mind pay to win features if they're outside of the dungeon and it's just for like organization, logistics, and quality of life stuff in your stash. As long as at its base level, it's still feasible for someone who doesn't pay. Like if the experience is just miserable for you if you don't, and then like it feels like you have to pay just to like be able to like, even have any semblance of happiness, that's bad, right? Like the fact that you just like have like no stash tabs or like no shared tabs would be ridiculous. But like just paying for more tabs would be nice. Paying for more Squire paper dolls, I would do it. Yeah, but I don't like the fact that it's like a seasonal pass to like re-up. Like I just want to be able to go to the store, buy another Squire paper doll for $5, and I have it forever. And I want to buy more, I can buy as many as I want. I could just have sets,
Yeah, like Path of Exile.
There was options,
bro. Yeah, I agree with that. I would rather have
options. There was a lot of space for them to improve, but instead they went with consumables, which are a direct improvement. And again, if you're in a Squire kit and you're popping a 30 damage protection potion versus an 8 damage prod pot, Like that is you've paid for a bonus.
But that season pass had, first of all, that season pass had grays. All right, so like let's not pretend like those potions are insane. Those are fucking grays, dude.
One of them had like
what do we legendary ones?
No, they gave everybody.
Everyone got the legendary ones.
Everybody got the legendary ones. Okay, that's I just want to. I'm gonna be brief. I don't want to argue about pay to win. I think that is opening the door. And we all accepted that, so that we're opening the door as gamers to what could possibly amount to pay to win. I just want to say that season pass had dog shit. It had like fucking 40 gray pots and some lockpicks.
And
that's not pay to win,
though. That's
but I would rather see like $5 permanent stash tabs, $5 permanent character slot. Like
I'd love it too.
Said, $5 permanent. I get like one more paper doll.
Or you pay $7 for the premium tab where I could change the colors on it. You know,
I agree with that.
Like just stuff like that. Like maybe you wouldn't be in this final situation if you just like stole POE's. But POE has the best business model in the business. For it,
it's also free, right? Or like
the fact that it's free to play and they make all that money based off of these microtransactions that aren't predatory. They're not really pay to win. They're mostly pay for convenience or skins, and like they don't affect the in-game gameplay. They just affect your out-of-game between match gameplay where you're just playing spreadsheet simulator, which a lot of POE is like Dark and Darker. You're on the market. You're fucking with stash. You're fucking with vendors. It's like the same thing, you know, on the outside of the game. Like so, just steal it. Just give me artifact tabs, give me armor tabs, give me consumable tabs. Like there's so much you could do. And people
imagine having the gathering
money.
hall and then being able to have your Squire kits on display so you can have like your artifact glowing juice and people can inspect them, and
like your one display paper doll that has everything and you can see the stats on it.
Yeah, you inspect it, you know, just like you're inspecting another player.
Flex items.
Arcane, what do you think about the season pass? Did you see everything that it came with?
Well, I saw what showed up in my stash today, and I didn't remember it being that much. It was a lot of gold coin bags, which that part is, I think, pretty debatable. I think the potion aspect is definitely bordering on pay to win. Like the beginning of a wipe, getting off to a good start is like pretty damn important.
Snowball.
And being able to just drop in there with 4 stacks of potions and bandies, like without even thinking about it, that first day, every raid basically, unless you have some really bad luck. Yeah, that makes a big difference. So there are some pay to win aspects. I'm definitely not going to disagree with Emboss, but I would much rather, I agree with you guys. Like I have no disagreement. I think PoE model is fantastic. I went all in on that the second I saw how much more convenient, and it like just it blew my mind how extensive it was. And I bought within, like, I was a more or less brand new PoE player when the last version came out, and it was like, oh dude, I have to have all this. I need to it's going to scratch every OCD itch I have to organize things perfectly. And I want to buy all these extra tabs.
And you spend a decent amount of money, but like you feel like you get like your money's worth.
I felt like I got value out of it, and I know it's not a PvP game by design, at least. So there are some obvious differences there, but I don't think there would be too many people in our community pissed off if they did exactly what PoE did. I'm with you 100%. I think that would be great. Give me the armor tab. Give me more skin options. Give me more tabs. And don't give people the debatable, let's say debatable pay to win aspects. Don't give them pots. Don't give them things they can take into the dungeon.
I agree.
Especially with the lockpicks, you could just take your lockpicks and stack them with an tradable one, and then sell them.
Taking that bank space pisses me off. Gotta vendor those.
Well, I'm just saying, if you take them and put them, stack them with tradable ones, you can sell them on the marketplace, because that was something that was totally oversought with the, anything that stacks and is a version that doesn't sell, you can just stack it with the version that does and sell them. So GG's. Hacks on, little cheating, but it's like I said, it was something where they had plenty of options to pursue. I don't think the involvement of the potions was a breaking point for the game, but it wasn't healthy and it wasn't necessary.
It's kind of like it's not oppressive, but like it's the beginning of
It's the $5 horse armor, okay, guys? That's what I'm saying. It's the opening of the door of what you're willing to accept, and I don't accept it. That's all. I don't accept it. Yeah, I fucking bought it. You kidding me? I'll buy it every season. They added a stash tab. in there.
Everyone bought it,
Right.
dude. I'm just
Yeah,
saying the slippery
yeah,
slope. Everyone's already slid down that bitch.
Yeah.
I think 90% of the player base bought that season pass.
I didn't buy it
Yeah.
for the. I bought it for the shared stash app. That's really all.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
all for the stash tab.
But
Tab in the bags.
anyway,
Yeah.
I agree with you guys. I like the idea of free to play as well. As somebody who bought the Hold the Line edition, I would actually like to see a transition into free to play, especially if they're going to have a season pass or they sell you like whatever. I don't mind that. And if we go to Xbox and PlayStation, I think that it would be good for the player base. Not talking about the negatives that come with free to play. Only the idea of free to play in an ideal world would just be way more players worldwide that are playing Dark and Darker, which I think would be good for the market. It would be good for just seeing more people in the dungeon. You'd always be full. What do you guys think about that? Because when I hear that they're doing controller
I'm always for free to play.
I feel like we're heading toward a console launch at some point. So I feel like that's a good thing.
I think you look at the most successful games in recent history. They're all with like longevity. They're free to play games with microtransactions that aren't pay to win or predatory. Like League of Legends, POE, Dota,
Fortnite,
Counter-Strike.
Yeah, but you still have successful games that are just paid outright purchases, you know,
Yeah,
like just an
Destiny.
outright.
Yeah, but
Wow.
but look at longevity.
Destiny went free, I'm pretty sure. Didn't Destiny go
Yeah.
free?
you had to
did,
buy
yeah,
expansions. Yeah, it kind of
So-
same with
so
Elder Scrolls. It's
Bible
like
games-
free, but
Buy to play games
Baldur's
have lots of hype on launch, right? And they have a big influx of players. But you notice over the long term, you don't get as many new players because like, oh, this game's been out for 7 years. I want to pay $50 for a 7-year-old game. But you look at a 7-year game like free to play. Fuck it, I'll give it a try. You know, all the time. People are way less likely to like buy into a game the longer it's out, unless like there's some really high praise around it, which isn't always the case.
Like Rust, you know, Rust kind
Yeah,
of.
Russ. Yeah, but Russ has the praise.
Yes, and it's also gotten. I don't know about any microtransactions or things or pay to win in Rust. I just know that I've owned Rust for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Rivals.
But yeah, I feel like that was a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Free to play is always good. I think there's problems with free to play, but I think the benefits outweigh the problems by a lot.
Yeah, the other thing you mentioned was the artifact quest lines coming out, like a 1, 2, 3 over time release. But with free to play accounts and being able to just make a free account and then grinding the quest line, they have to either make the quest line more obnoxious or make it like so it can't be farmed. I guess I don't want it to be, but I want it to be enough to be achievable, but not through like a massive amount of influxes of RMT free to play guys just grouping and farming the quest line to sell their artifacts.
right. That was when I speed ran it on my second account and I got 3 artifacts in like 8 hours. I felt like it was probably the easiest way to get artifacts in the game. But I wonder if
Without
that's
question.
necessarily a bad thing, only because now that the market has been out for a week and the fluctuations are starting to stop, I feel like artifacts being 5 to 15K is like pretty reasonable. Like it's nice to see them in the dungeon more often. It's not like egregious to take in like a delirium. I sort of like that. So I feel like if people are free farming the artifacts and like making a new account, then they put those on the market.
They
I
can't.
don't know,
They have to trade them.
it just kind of like lowers the. Oh, right.
If they
can't
fix the
sell.
trading in PvE and fix
Oh,
the
that's
trading and
true.
force those accounts to spend money, then I would be
Yeah.
more on board. But right now, it's
true.
literally just open them up, go to PvE, drop your
Drop
items.
it. Yeah.
Also,
Okay,
I think
so-
three artifact quests is probably too much for an account. I think it should be
Maybe
like 20.
staggered over time, though. I like
Maybe.
that.
Maybe.
I only disagree because of the RNG of it. Like maybe if they did it boss based, where like one you get like bows, another you get like magic stuff, and a second you might get a weapon. Because like I got 2.
Make it like
Famine.
the
So I feel like if somebody else gets Fulgor and you
reward
get Famine, like, you
token.
just feel like shit.
Yeah, I like that. Actually.
make it give you a special reward token that rolls from a couple of choices, you know,
I like
and
that.
then
and you get 3 choices. Oh, that's a
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
That's actually
like
really
back in the
good.
day. I remember when I pulled Fulgor. I think that clip is still in my chat.
You can even make the algorithm, if they're smart, you can make it so all 3 choices will cover every class in the game under those 3 like
Right.
weapons that are.
Yes,
So you
that
always
would be
have
good,
a
yeah.
usable item at least.
Yep.
Or it's like the stash tab. When you turn it in, make sure you get in the fucking character you want an artifact for. Boom. Then you get one from that variation of what they can use.
Yeah, you hop in your fighter and it'll give you only fighter usable ones. That's
Yeah.
not bad actually.
That's not bad either.
There's options.
If you do that, then you can make those untradeable and it'd be totally fine.
And then they can
Boom.
actually sell us that token for like $10.
All right, now.
Okay, see, now don't give them any ideas, man.
All right. Okay, so the one of the final things I had before going to Q&A is Assuming that the make or break wipe makes or at least keeps the current player base and gets us going in the right direction, what are you guys interested in from the 10-year vision? They mentioned that they're still going on the 10-year vision, and some of the things that they have personally mentioned factually are guild bosses, guild wars, which SCF said would be 9v9. They also mentioned solo and duo arena queues, and fishing and a card game like Gwent from The Witcher. Like, what of those features are you guys looking forward to in a 10-year vision? Plus Monk. So, like, I don't know if full loot would work, though, just because you only get, like, 1 to 4 people queuing and everybody else is getting farmed.
No, these are events. You don't do them all the time. It's like, okay, we have the monthly.
I talked about this, actually.
Once we already have guilds situated, we have the whole guild system in place. You have all these people with different guilds, and then, boom, it's Guild Wars night. It's like a tournament structure. It could be arena, it could be capture the flag, whatever game mode you want. But I think capture the flag is an underrated game mode in a lot of games.
I was saying they should take like the arena queues, and then instead of just like slopping around the terrible maps and everything, have like a modular weekly arena queue that is just jump in and like maybe it gives you a preset character with artifacts or something. But they could do stuff where it's like a template character in the arenas to queue. Yeah, and you could have like different events. It could be King of the Hill, capture point, capture the flag, anything on that variety. Even if it's just like, okay, this week we're doing all, like I said, all wizards and all fireballs, or all rangers. Everybody plays a ranger with the same kit. Just like something static, or like even solo shuffle. Solo shuffle would go so hard in the arena, so it actually gets played. There is a lot of stuff to work with there. I like the idea. King of the Hill would be a little bit ridiculous because, of course,
I always thought a fun game mode would be Goblin Prison, with all the cells. But if it's a game mode you queue for, and it's just 50 solo players, and they all spawn in the cells. Each one of the cells, they all open at the same time, and it's just 50-man free for all, last man standing wins. Holy shit, that'd be awesome.
Man, I would love that. Like that when
Squid Games, Dark and Darker.
Yes, sir.
When the bug happened and we got like 40 people in Goblin Caves for that whole day, like that half day.
Everyone's spawning into each other.
Yeah, that was actually insane. Like it was all 3 layers too. Everybody was on like all 3 layers of prison or whatever that module is called, or altar.
I remember spawning in prison when it was normal, and you'd walk out the gate and there'd be somebody on the second floor in the opposite corner just staring at you. Yeah, and
it was just a race to get out of your goddamn gate. What about you?
Yeah, I'd like to see that. Oh, go ahead.
One of the things that I didn't hear you list off that I think was on the roadmap at one point was the community workshop.
True. Yeah, the Steam community workshop.
Right.
Yep.
That to me was always one of the things that I
ideas.
thought could be a freaking game changer for them. Like, we have some really talented people in this community, and if they can manage to not kill this game and the next wipe is even moderately successful in a year or two, I mean, you could really turn things around if you get a Steam workshop going. Like, I think that did wonders for Rust, and there are at least a couple other games I can't think off the top of my head, but those type of things go a long way. So that's probably at the top of the list.
Community generated content with the Gathering Hall. Imagine being able to load your own custom arena modules in the Gathering Hall. Holy shit. Oh my God, I'm getting excited. Like, there's just so many, and like he said, it's a never-ending well to draw content from. So like that 3-month wipe cycle, maybe somebody picks up a really good map and it becomes the new arena standard, and that's the big golden bar that is set. Maybe even Iron Mace notices and goes, wow, everybody really likes this map. Let's go ahead and see if we can actually make it into the arena or module, or even like designing monsters or bosses, just different things you can experiment with, coupled with the Gathering Hall. So you got the community workshop and the Gathering Hall both bouncing off of each other and creating a much better gameplay loop.
Yep.
Oh my God, I want it so bad. Actual esports involved in the gameplay, and not just a bunch of monsters running around in circles because you had a bad module selected for the arena and 3 ranged on the enemy team. My God, the possibilities. I'm still bitter about the arena.
Yeah, I mean, this game is watchable. Like, imagine a world where like you have a good arena, like with like
spectators
or good guild wars,
and then you have observer tools, and then maybe Iron Mace has a media team that can record some of these games, and then that could be your marketing and your publicity, that people would see these sweet 3v3 like arena matches with the high skill ceiling, and like you do some good editing, get Odin in there, just shoutcasting, the next thing you know, people see that, they don't play this game, like, what the fuck is that game? Like, that's awesome, and they want to play it.
It's a hype.
the game markets itself. Iron Man it's like hiding it. They're covering it in shit, so you don't want to look at it. That's weird.
I think too, when it comes to that stuff, I think a lot of Destiny and World of Warcraft Mythic raids, where when a new raid comes out or a new boss comes out, you have these like insane race to world first kills, and you get like the top 10 guilds that are all competing. You've got and our game could definitely have that. I felt it when we had Frost Dragon, right? It took like 3 days for Jay and Repos to beat Frost Dragon. A lot of us gave up. It was just way too hard and we couldn't figure it out. I would like to see that for Guild Wars. If we get 9-player Guild Wars, and then you have Destiny style raids where like branching pathways, it like splits the party. You got to assign like one healer and one tank, make use of taunt finally. There's like sub bosses in there, and that's just once a week, and it has a really high chance of dropping an artifact for each player. So like everybody wants to raid. I would love to see that.
Just because I don't use the term esports. I think it's probably better to call it more like a competitive community events, like tribal stuff. Like it's not, it's more so just organized events for the community that's are semi-competitive and for fun. Yeah, but like I think esports is probably the wrong label. I just want to say that. Anyway,
I mean, Dubai owns that now. We can't say the word esports, but
you're right.
I mean, I feel like this game is set up for a World of Warcraft or Destiny style raid, right? You do like a couple waves of mobs, like a sub boss or like a jumping puzzle, and then there's like a main boss at the end. You could even.
I like what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like the when we're talking about like daily quests, weekly quests, like the idea is the same on the concept of like what you're talking about with an artifact quest specific to killing Ghost King. Now you get one of 3 selected Ghost King artifact choices. Or like a repeatable weekly quest, or like a weekly queue mode. Like we're all these things all tie into a good gameplay loop, and are all, I think, pretty damn good ideas. But they're all like
good ideas.
Even if the new content doesn't bring somebody back, maybe the idea of logging in and checking for their new unique item from the quest line for the week, or there's a lot of ways to bring players back into the fold that isn't just shelling out new weapons, new maps, new characters. Like it's I don't want to say login bonuses, but it is a bonus for coming back.
We definitely don't have that. We don't have that dopamine. I talk about it a lot with Escape from Tarkov and Arena Breakout Infinite. Both of these games give you a huge reward for finishing a daily quest or a weekly quest, or like for Arena, if you log in every weekend, as long as you log in on like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it just does a jackpot spin wheel.
One reward token.
It gives you like one reward token, or like a piece of legendary gear, or on a really low chance, like a unique. It's just something cool where you're like, I should log in today, and just grab that. We don't have like those hooks, and the game sells itself. I think the combat and the core of this game are really good, but we need like couple more things. We need like layered content, like guilds, guild wars. We definitely need arena rewards. That has been promised for like over a year. But yeah, those are good things, guys. I like to see the 10-year plan and like the layered content and what else would be good for the game. From there, I kind of wanted to go into Q&A and give Chance a chat or
Chat a chance.
Chat a chance.
While we look for some questions, I kind of want to talk about HR a little bit, normals. Some questions. Mm-hmm. So I've notoriously been like an HR player for most of my time playing this game. Like I'm the sweaty HR wizard. Like, that's what I do. This season, HR has been absolutely miserable, the worst it's ever been, without a doubt. And I have converted to basically being a normal player. And I have had so much more fun just playing normals, not having to salt my ass off constantly, just like playing the game and having fun with pre-made teams. Randoms doesn't even matter. I'll go 1v3. Sometimes I'll play with randoms. Sometimes I'll go 0 to hero. Like, I'm playing. I'm not forced to like be 100% on. I could just go in and play how I want because it's a normal environment and it's way more fun. And I was just thinking, like, do we even need HR? Like, what's the point? It just seems like it's there just to make people depressed.
I feel like the dynamic of HR is definitely lost. I like the idea of the queue. I do like the idea of the random maps. I'm an actual, like, I would like to say I'm fucking nasty on every map, so it definitely makes me biased. I don't get onto the ice map and go, shit, it's ice. I'm like, fuck, it's ice. Let's go. I know where every mob spawns. It's not that big of a deal. But I know that that's not something a lot of people enjoy. But at the same time, all of those maps offer very early, repeatable extracts that you can get out and you can reset and get to the map that you do want. and they're pretty easy to get to. They're not like locked down. The boat comes every couple of minutes.
I was playing some HR the other day because I was like, maybe I'm wrong. I thought maybe I'm being jaded here. Maybe I'm being a fucking normal Zandy, and maybe I'm not giving HR a chance. So I played some HR with Majora and friends, and like we had a Crips match. First match Crips, fun match, got out. Second match Crips match, like double Crips in a row. Let's go. We died. It's like whatever, hard loss. Felt bad, but we got re-geared. Like, okay, let's get back in. Let's get our get back. Redemption's arc. Ice caves. Fuck. 5 minutes waiting for a boat. We got okay, fine. We're ice caves. Fuck. Wait for 5 times in a row. It took us about 45 minutes for us to get into another Crips match to then just get killed in another 3 seconds, and I'm like, I'm done with this. This is ridiculous. I
understand.
2 times or shorter in Tarkov. It's it's crazy. It was just so tilting. I'm just trying to play. Like, I'm not asking for much here. I just want to just play the game. Please. Is that so much to ask for? I don't know. But so I want to talk about what I was thinking about for HR and normals and like how we can combine the two and not be super oppressive. And this only works for Crips, Ruins, Crips, Inferno.
You can talk about going down to the next layer and making it.
Well, yes and no. So right now you use Q into Ruins, and then you play Ruins, your Crips, and your Inferno, which is fine. That should be like the base gameplay. But like, what if instead of having HR, you take that 100 gold anti fee, and you tack it onto normals, and if you pay that 100 gold fee, you get to skip Ruins. You spawn into Crips. But people that play Ruins can still hit the red, get into Crips and be in that same mix. But like the veteran players that don't want to Timmy Stomp and play Ruins could just bypass the Ruins altogether without having to interact with them. Go right to Crips and go to Inferno. But those players could still like play up top and still come down whenever they want at their own risk. But at least they have like Ruins to at least build up. So we're all still in one queue, but the veterans aren't forced to go through the Timmies to get to Inferno. I feel that's what I feel like sometimes when I'm playing Ruins. It's like I don't want to kill the Timmies. Most of the vets I play with, we don't want to kill the Timmies, but we have to wait 5 minutes for the reds to open, and they're armed and dangerous. 200% headshots. I don't care if
He's got a gun.
You're a square click. You can kill me in 2 shots. You're a threat. I'm sorry. You got to limit the threat. You have a fucking gun. You have a crossbow. That will kill me. I'm in a spot where like I'm forced to like make your day bad.
So
but
I'd like to see more
to skip it.
Yeah. Like it would be like a consumable, maybe a purchase from a vendor that you can bring in, and if all 3 people bring it in, you skip the fucking first layer or something like that.
It could just be the HR queue, but it's still the one queue, but it just puts you into the Crips. Right. It's just so much easier that way. Because like I noticed when I'm playing normals, I play Ruins, a lot of teams. People are still building up. But then once I get into Crips, I'm like, okay, people are. It really kind of filters people out. They get a little bit.
And then when you get to Inferno, it's all the last juicer line.
Then you get to Inferno, it's like, okay, these are like your average HR players in Inferno. So it's like the natural filter of the game, the Darwinism, the survival of the fittest. It makes sense. It just sucks that like the Sharks have to go through all the minnows in the top layer to get there, and that's the part that I think that's the part where a lot of the newer players feel bad, where they're getting like ran down, and where I would argue 80 to 90% of the veteran players would rather not do that. And obviously there's outliers. Sometimes I want to fuck around and fight some Timmies, but usually when I'm 0 to hero, it's different.
So what would your proposition be in that scenario if HR's out of the loop?
HR gone?
Yep, HR's gone. How do you handle mob degree of difficulty? Do you RNG
and artifacts and
you scale it like you do with HR, but it's like Ruined is like normals difficulty. Normals. And Crips is like somewhere between HR and normals, and then Inferno would be like your average HR game. With like loot scaling with the difficulty.
Then you have to have consumables for bosses to increase the loot up to an HR variance so that you're not fighting a normals level boss, or maybe you kill the normals boss and have a chance at a high roller boss. I don't.
Scales with depth, not Q.
Well, like the difficulty. It has to change the difficulty. Are we going to have a normal lich when I go down, or am I going to have an in-between lich? Am I going to have an HR lich? You're going to have
a medium lich. It'd always be medium. It'd be like probably HR difficulty, but medium scaled loot.
I see what you're saying. It's just I feel like there's a lot more to implement to make it work, like system wise, and I would like to see them work on stuff where they remove HR. Because again, I agree with the removal of HR entirely. I would like to see the entire gameplay loop more difficult for the PvE. I know that a lot of people don't like it, but I think the PvE does need to be very threatening. I think it needs to exist in a form that forces you from different places. You look at some modules and go, well, fuck no, I'm not going through there. It's got the Wraith and it's got the bats, and it's a long hallway that I wouldn't want to approach, so I'm going to go another direction. I like the idea of being forced around.
The normal boss difficulty, but you could bring in those old boss summons And those
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is
that's not a bad idea actually, where you juice the boss up to
Right.
a higher difficulty,
That's a
like a
good
mythic
call.
plus, you know.
Yep.
I was
That's
saying that
interesting.
should be a thing for the longest time to fight a nightmare variant of a boss. You know, like that's as far back as the very first introduction of HR. I thought it'd be cool to have some way of summoning like an extra hard variant that just fucking wrecks everything and requires a lot of coordination skill and pre-planning, not just going in there willy-nilly. Maybe you actually have a use for cleanse now. But yeah, then there's of course the underused abilities and things. And Nico actually brought something up in chat that SDF had said. I don't know if you had read that, just in the segue over to the Q&A a little bit, that they're going to be doing, from what he said, from what I recall, there's going to be over 50 changes to abilities and perks. Like there's going to be tons of adjustments to underused abilities, perks, spells, skills, everything. Like they're making a massive sweeping change to all of that stuff. That's when we talk about like forcing out the edge of the content loop to be the nut that happens 3 months later means that it's going to be a fucking mess. There's going to be 50 different buffs and nerfs and tweaks to talents and abilities. That just means that we have 50 more things to try and experiment and mix together through. And if we would have had the 3 months of time sitting here to balance those things, we would have had a better experience than just flopping the nuts out of all of these changes at once. I don't think that would be something that we should have done. I think we should have definitely like staggered the release change, but I'm also excited to see what kind of nonsense it happens.
Yeah. Do it all at once and do it underwater.
Great. God.
Add a little more.
Why you got to be that? It's just that whole experience is like, did we force this or did they? Because I know everybody complained about, well, Iron Mace gave us this half-assed feature. They gave us this half-assed feature. And I always thought like, they're fucking proud of that half-assed feature. They're giving it to us early because they wanted us to play around and test with it. Now we've got the complete opposite where they hold everything back for 3 damn months. Like, did we do this or did Iron Mace change?
A little bit of both. I
Sorry,
think.
that was...
Oh, you're not wrong.
But yeah, the message is basically like, how do you feel about all of those changes? What are your thoughts on this? And would you personally like to see anything in particular added, changed, or removed? And I always thought that Holy Water was just, why does it exist? Why did they completely butcher cleanse? What is that party time? Like, who thought up these abilities and how do we get them off the payroll?
Yeah.
Like, they're so underused.
What they should be working on instead of maps is just perks, skills, spells, weapons, armors. This is like these are things that
Subclassing.
for your bang for buck, like the amount of effort it takes to make these things versus the effect on the game that they have is like crazy return on investment. Whereas like spending 8 months on a map, you know, is a gamble, and even if you hit, it's like you're not getting much for it.
Your biggest return is like penny slots versus putting down, 10 grand on a hand of blackjack. I get what you're saying, because the investment isn't going to yield the reward. We used to get a weapon almost every 2 weeks, like the Warhammer, the club. We got a bunch of different adjustments and upgrades and tweaks. And now it's like 3 months. I think we should get fucking 7 or 8 weapons. Okay. Something like 2 for every single class, at least, on top of all of the balancing tweaks and nerfs and buffs and adjustments. And I'm just kind of waiting.
Give me a crystal buckler. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd love to see a wand for casters, something that helps them PvE a little bit better.
Core band, we need a trident. We need a flail. Lots of things.
The flail.
Yeah, we need that.
I want a crystal sword on. I want something that deals magic weapon damage on cleric. I want a demon's glee. I want a crystal sword. I want something, man. At some point, it's going to happen. I need to stack it with my smite.
Lightbringer.
We need
Lightbringer could easily have
crosses.
bad magic.
Right.
Yeah, we just got action speed, so it's more smites. It's kind of the same.
Yeah.
But it's a different way of doing stuff. But it also ties into that.
Are you eating cottage cheese, bro?
Oh no, sorry. This is rice and tuna with avocado. I'm just mixing it all together.
Holy shit, that's healthy.
I don't mix the avocado with anything. Like I gotta have like a chunk of avocado in my mouth plus whatever else it is. I can never like blend it.
Look what I'm drinking, dude. Cucumber, celery, grapefruit, charred
all I see
lettuce.
Is like just
that's a
spinach, kale,
that's a
parsley.
$7 bottle easily. I could tell.
Dude, it's California. That's a $13 bottle.
At eating fruit and vegetables, so I have to drink it.
That's fair.
That's all. I just want to do it.
That's a good idea, actually. My most I ever had was strawberry cream cheese on my bagel. So
dude, let's think about buying a juicer. Sorry, side note.
You can buy yourself.
Yeah, I juice my own fruit.
I would like to see. I mentioned it before, but I want to see layered content. I think rather than getting new weapons and new perks and skills and all that, we already have like 10 classes. We're going toward 11, and a lot of them have a bunch of subclasses that are now functional. Thank God that a lot of the stats are back. But I just want to see more layered shit. Like if we get guilds, I would like to see guild quests or like weekly guild quests where you have to be like, yo, let's all group up and go to PvE and like do these quests. I want to see guild bosses. I want to see like, I really want to see something else, dude. We need like one other thing. Right now, you just go in the dungeon and you PvP or PvE, and like that's it. We need some other shit. We need like a hideout or like something you can build. Maybe consolidate the fucking 18 merchants that we have with like the 50 different quest lines.
We don't need those. We don't need those.
What's going on with that,
gemming
dude?
and stats and left the goldsmith on the vendor table. I can't express how frustrated I was to see that. It's just like how half-assed are you doing everything, man? Oh, but yeah, I agree.
That rolling with it. They were like, let's just add more merchants. Let's get like a cockatrice in there. Like,
dude, we
I
can
like
easily consolidate 50% of the merchants. We can easily
consolidate that.
Crazy. Put the alchemist and the surgeon in the same one, bro. Like, woodsman and weapon. Like, we could clean this up. Alchemist,
yeah, that was a good question from chat. What about you, Arcane? What would you like to see like added or like some sort of quality of life or?
I'll probably beat the subclassing drum again and just talent trees. It's basically the same thing that you guys are saying. Like invest in things that are just no brainers that are going to pay dividends for the life of the game, because maps are great. New content is great. We all want new content. But at the end of the day, if we get 1 week into your new content and the fundamentals of the game still suck and they're not interesting, and we're still going through the same old things, which hopefully we won't be, if they're going to do this wide sweeping change of perks and skills, then maybe we will feel like we have true subclassing type of options. But I would just like them to deliver on kind of the initial promise of the game and get talent trees, get perks and skills right, and then everything else will eventually fall into place.
I feel like they have a lot with the idea of their changing of the perks and spells to be valuable, and one of the things they haven't done is like how they did Warlock's demon plate armor. You know, the demon armor or whatever it is. There you can wear plate armor, but first it was you have half your casting speed, and then it's like, oh, okay, well now it's only 10%. I feel like they're afraid of doing the idea of a perk or a spell that has a negative that is allowing the positive to be more weighed heavier.
That's so important, and that's like the most important thing.
Yeah,
it's the best perks in this game are Spell Overload, Slayer Fighter. Like those are the two best perks in the game because they give you a powerful effect, but have an obvious drawback to make a completely new unique play style for a class. Like this, back to stealing things from PoE. PoE does this all the time. They have so many items in their game. Like they have the Val Fist that give you a whole new ability where you smash the ground and there's a big lightning AoE, but it fucking reduces your lightning res by 50%. So like you're a lightning, like, you know, it gives you a powerful effect. Makes you
advanced healer grants you 25% more magical healing, reduces your magical power by 25%. Or there's just like a lot of expansion.
You can only wear cloth. Boom. Like it,
right.
Like work. Yep. Something you could do.
It's,
like
there's a lot that they could do that I assume they might be looking forward to in lieu of providing a massive sub talent skill tree, because you know the sub talents and all that, the subclassing stuff might be a lot for them to include. But if they just did that minor change with the perks, it would almost equate to allowing that. Now imagine like a perk that says -1 perk slot, but your this perk is just so mighty that you don't need that extra perk slot, so you can balance it with your other new perks, and it's just, you know, like improves your skills but reduces your perk slots by 1. Or but really quickly, I wanted to touch on the question in chat talking about the lobbies. It's been brought up a couple of times, the different gear score lobbies, because personally I like the idea of having a Squire gear score, but I also like the idea of having an everyone gear score. I don't mind Timmy's, you know, like the naked man getting stomped out. Like I like the idea of punching up.
Squire lobbies are usually band-aid fixes to a bigger problem of gear gap being insurmountable. So like if people are wearing gear and you just cannot kill them because their stats are too high, that's a problem, right? But in a world, I always think you should be able to punch up 2 or 3 like rarities. Like so, if I am in double on-row blues, I feel like I could fight people in quad on roll legendaries and like have a chance reasonably. If I am in
Yeah.
one on roll greens, I can fight people in triple on roll epics. Like as long as you can punch up 2, I think it feels healthy. And I think last season the gear was actually way better than it is now. They brought back health on gear, they brought back high armor rolls, they brought back boost speed. So it's actually the gear is actually worse than it was last season. Last season it was almost perfect, whereas even if you're quad on roll like legendaries, you couldn't stack health, so you couldn't be 200 HP. You couldn't get 75% PDR. You were even in your best gear, you're like 150 HP, 310. Super reasonable. That's like not the case anymore with the way stats are. So I think we kind of got backwards. I feel like last season we definitely didn't need gear star brackets. Now people probably feel like they do because they're probably running into these feelings of, man, I ran into that guy, hit him a billion times, and I couldn't kill him. You got stat check because he has a chest piece on with 3 Vig, 3 Strength, 10 Armor, and PDR, and and that's on all of his gear. It feels bad sometimes.
Yeah, but the gameplay loop is just better in a Squire gear set lobby, just because not only is everybody even, but every single chest you loot, every single body you turn over, every single PvP engagement isn't just a bloodlust to get there. There's like the entire dungeon experience is uplifted when everybody's on that same base playing page. It just feels better overall.
That sounds like SSF in a nutshell.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, obviously SSF, it's so good that it will never be fully implemented. And I've talked about it before. SSF for 2 weeks, quest items and consumables for the next 2 weeks, and then give the marketplace whatever free reign. But the longer we can extend SSF is like the best version of the game. But for the Squire queues, I would or the lobbies and gear scores, I love the idea of punching up. I love the that whole experience of being like, holy shit, I managed to take Akumas off somebody while I'm in like 3 on-rolled blues. And that's something I love. But I do think that the game benefits the most from the Squire gear score lobbies and has the best player experience, retention, upgrades, gameplay loop. All of it comes from that Squire gear lobby.
Yeah, but
and interaction.
But we're not talking about like the mixed queue before where people could pay.
Yeah, you're talking about the pre-made
runes.
And...
Oh, no, not that. Not even that. That's different. But like where you could pay to skip runes and go to HR or go to start on crypts, but people on runes who still go into your crypts after they hit the red. You have to think a lot of the people that are just playing that runes area, that's going to be pretty close to what a Squire queue feels like, because the people that aren't paying to skip to go to crypts and just playing runes are usually going to be like the lower end, the people that are having a rough time and they're kind of starting from zero. You're going to have probably 80% Squire queue in that queue that will then feed into like the normal gameplay in Crypts and Inferno. It would probably be healthier. I don't know.
I just feel like that queue was the unequivocal best queue with the most players and the most fun that you could have in my mind. That was just like the best setup. You're not going to be a perfect build. You're not going to be min-maxed out. Everyone's on that same page. And it was the best version of the new player experience. Now we don't have the best version of it, and we don't have any tutorial. We don't have anything else, but we want to consolidate this more casual player base, but we're doing nothing to accommodate them. We talk about it, but then we do nothing to actually bring them in or get them introduced to the game and the systems. I remember watching one of my friends, their girlfriend picked up the game and was like, all right, how do I cast? Like, there's just so many minute things that the game is unique to that they don't tell you anything about. And it would be very beneficial to have the most introductory tutorial version of the game. We still don't have that. So like the Squire lobbies are nice because at least if you're queuing in, maybe someone in your group would be like, well, here's how you cast, or here's how you do that. And it's like a player built experience that we just stripped away, and now they get steamrolled by people getting their gear from trade chat. Sorry. I had something in my throat there. Nabi. Oh my God. God damn.
Sorry, I know you just said I wasn't even listening.
All right, Arcane. What do you think about Squire lobbies versus geared and HR?
I absolutely love the Squire lobbies. I hope to piggyback on what Emboss just said, though. Hopefully the Gathering Hall will help with the new player onboarding experience. Hopefully there will be elements of that will allow people to get in there and test out their keybinds and figure out the mechanics.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we're effing on my end. We're lagging big time. Dropping frames like crazy. I've been trying to tweak the settings. I don't know what's going on. Apologies. Yeah, it's about that time for me to hit the old dusty trail.
You're good.
But yeah, so Gathering Hall. Hopefully we'll do better for new player onboarding. But I do love Squire lobbies, like full stop. That is some of the most fun I have playing the game.
Cock.
Rip. All right, we're definitely losing the hell out of your frames, Arcane. It's like a couple words every sentence.
Yeah, it's dropping.
The audio's crisp though.
Yeah, it's Chris just lagged.
Yeah.
I'll just briefly say that if we move to a system that doesn't incorporate high roller, or like Ken's saying, where you can skip to the sort of the high roller floors, in that case, I think you could bring Squire lobbies back. I do think Squire lobbies were the most popular. It was like the most relaxed place to play. That also encouraged people to learn to PvP. Everyone's just W keying around, like figuring it out. I do feel like what Ken said is also true though.
You can just group the Squire too, by the way. And like you only queue runes as Squire, but those Squires, if you go into the Crypts Red, then you're into the pool of players that are queuing with gear potentially. You know that risk going in, but at least you have runes, Squire. At least you have one layer where you're on 100% even playing field, and you can always blue after you've gotten a profit. But if you want to take that risk and go red, you have the express. You could bank your profit and then keep going down if you want, and taking the risk going deeper, which is what it should be. So like you have the best of both worlds. You have at least one raid with full Squire. So if you're rock bottom, you at least have the even playing field. But then, if you want to go red at your own risk, and like that's how it should be. You should, when you go deeper, you should be taking more risk. That's how it has to be.
I always like the idea with the Squire lobbies where you queued in and you spent all 15 minutes grind decent couple of pieces for your squad and immediately jumped into the red. Like it rewards you for your time spent on runes, similar to how it does the same thing if you go down to Inferno after gearing up in the crypts. It would be a completely different aspect of it, and another way to I like the idea of runes being Squire only. Like it doesn't separate queues, it doesn't add a queue, it doesn't change it. It just makes it so if you want to go in, this is where you start, or you pay the 100 gold, you go into HR crypts, and I think it would be a good way to work on it. But I don't see.
Let's call it crypts. Let's call it crypts. Stop using this. Stop using this HR label. It's tainted. It's disgusting. Fuck high roller. It's the game. All right, sorry.
Guys, I'm going to have to cut this a little bit short. I'm afraid I'm watching my frames.
We've been going for a while. We're chilling.
Down. But this has been good. It's been good to get together. SBS, you said the wipe is next week. Are we 1 or 2 weeks out?
We are exactly like 1 week, 2 days.
Twice is 9 days, so probably 14.
Yeah.
So last wipe was on Tuesday, and it looks like they're looking forward to wipes and patches to be on Tuesday, so they don't have to stay over the weekend to fix things, which makes sense for them as a company. I think a lot of companies Tuesday patches.
Okay. I'm dropping again, but so you're thinking the 23rd then?
Oh, Tuesday. So we are.
He is always a deep thought, but this is just a bonus.
And he's gone. Very deep wipe thoughts. But yeah, I do miss Squire. I don't know how to incorporate it because we already have so many queues and we're about to get water map. So like Ken said, a lot of it seems like a band-aid, but I don't know how you rip one band-aid off without fundamentally affecting the entire game and having to spend a ton of time deving. So I don't know. I will also say only on like a kind of skill diff thing is that with Expressmen and how much money can be made right now, I don't know if they'll keep this for next wipe, but like you kill like 4 mummies and 4 ground skeletons and you just made like 1,000 gold, even in normals. Yeah. You just put that shit in Expressmen. So like I don't know, like that's like a full set of greens.
Like I said, I'm always trying to advocate for the best new player experience possible, but I'm trying not to rob them of those amazing moments of like the punching up, because like I said, a few days ago I was playing with Hippo and Red. We're playing Triple Wizard normals. We had some pretty good gear on. We like went to runes, went to Inferno, killed the boss, got 3rd priority on boss, got 4th priority on boss, had a crazy fight, killed 6 people, looking at our wounds, and then the fucking most Timmy team rolled up on us with their fucking bald hats and slapping around in their clanking shoes, and they just finished us off, and they just had the biggest come up of their fucking season. And like that moment is gonna stick with them, and they're gonna keep playing the game because of that moment. Yeah. So whenever I like talk about trying to bring queues together, I want the new player experience to be good, but I don't want to rob new players from those amazing moments, which you only get when you have the actual genuine gameplay experiences when you're playing with everybody, not just in like your safe space bubble boy like you. Right.
True. I like when I lost my full gore to the guy in blues. He just played better, dude. I played like shit, and now he gets full gore. He got like 100k kid, and he was probably in like.
You died to gas cloud RNG.
But that's how it is. Like that's how easy it is, dude. One monster or one gas cloud, and one misstep, and I hit the ground. I knew immediately I was dead. I swung the third swing of Fulgor, and I hit the ground. I said, I'm dead. And yep, I died.
You played like shit,
I played like
and
shit.
you died like shit.
You know, let's do like one
Yes.
more question from chat, and then we'll break. This has been a good 2-hour podcast.
Says the guy sitting there stuffing his face with avocados, rice, and
it is
yeah.
not a podcast without me consuming food. All right, we're back.
That's a
to
good
the old
point.
days.
You're right.
The question from chat. Yo, Ken, how do you put on 50 pounds of lean muscle in such a short amount of time? Also, why are you so handsome and with a chiseled jawbone and a nice beard?
How can you see through the chisel? You
Hey,
can't. It's
Tell
a beard.
Jay I said hello. Tell Jay I said hi.
Mm.
All
Anyway,
right.
it's the trend.
It's the trend, Nubby. Me, I'm all natural. You know, all of my drugs are just grown from the earth and stuff. You know, all that. It's good stuff. Let them continue to select arena maps. Oh my God, what is wrong with them? The community could definitely do better in a lot of fronts than what we have. Like, I feel like community kind of like the RuneScape, you know, like I'm not saying we should take everything from the community, but I am saying that the community should be occasionally tapped for the influence and joy that it can bring, just like this event with the minor artifacts. I'm looking forward to see what they incorporate and how they do it wrong, but it was a good reach out to bring the community back in.
Agreed. All right, gents, I've got to drop. My frame drops are getting even worse.
All
It
right.
was a pleasure. Look forward to future pods. Hopefully, maybe we'll get one in
before the wipe. Yeah.
Yeah, either right before, maybe depending
Maybe a
on
little
when
bit
they
after,
drop
see
it.
what we get.
Yeah, I mean, if they drop patch notes and then we have a 6-hour downtime and it works out with everyone's schedules, maybe we try to do during the actual downtime. If not, then maybe week of.
I like that conservative 6-hour estimate right there. You know, I'm expecting
That-
like 12 hours, 18. Yeah.
I mean, I always like a lot of the times we don't usually have you for it, Arcane, because sometimes the wipes are like 2 and 3 a.m. But like the last 2 or 3 major wipes, we actually all assembled in either end bosses or walls, monsters, and players. So they were just hitting each other from like across the map.
All right, I'm out of here, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Love you, Arcane.
Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Jeez.
We'll see you guys.
Yeah.
Really well,
Shit.
brother.